Hi everyone, the tech world is buzzing with big news again. Elon Musk says XAI could reach AGI with Grok 5. OpenAI is rolling out a controversial ChatGPT update that will decide users' ages on its own. Researchers discovered why AI gives different answers, even at zero temperature. Boston Dynamics unveiled a thinking Atlas robot. Alibaba launched the DeepResearch web agent. And World Labs introduced Marble, a model that can generate entire 3D worlds from just one image or text. All that and more in this episode. Watch until the end so you don't miss anything. Elon Musk has once again made bold claims about the future of artificial intelligence. This time, he said he now believes achieving true AGI is possible with Grok 5. The trigger was the work of researcher Jeremy Berman, who built an unusual, evolutionary multi-agent system on top of Grok 4 and set new records on one of the toughest AI benchmarks. His system scored 79.6% on the first ARC AGI, set at an average cost of $8.42 per task, and 29.4% on the second set, at around $30.40 per task. For comparison, human results on these benchmarks are usually close to 85 to 100%, while for AI models they remain a serious challenge. The AARC-AGI test works like a puzzle with colored grids. The AI is shown a few before and after images that demonstrate a rule for transforming patterns, and then it's given a new image to apply the same logic. For humans, this feels like a simple visual riddle, but for machines, it's a tough test of whether they can truly generalize rules rather than just memorize examples. Grok 4 has already been a leader in these benchmarks, but Berman's approach proved to be fresh and more effective. He applied the idea of evolution. One model generated dozens of solutions, then separate agents tested them, selected the best ones, and slightly modified them before repeating the process over several cycles. In the end, the system picked the most effective solution and used it on test tasks. It was essentially natural selection, but in the world of prompts. Previously, researchers tried to improve results by giving a single model more time to think. For example, GPT-03 reached 87% on the first version of the benchmark this way. But Berman's results suggest another path might be more efficient, running many models in parallel, letting competition and selection produce better answers than a single model working for a long time. Interestingly, similar methods without the evolutionary step are already being used in other top-tier models like Grok 4 Heavy, Gemini 2.5 DeepThink, and GPT-5 Pro. But Berman was the one to demonstrate that reproducing ideas and gradually improving them can push performance to a new level. In response to these experiments, Musk announced that training of Grok 5 will begin in the coming week. According to him, this version could become a key step toward building truly universal artificial intelligence. OpenAI is preparing one of the most controversial updates in ChatGPT's history. The company announced that it is introducing a system designed to determine the age of its users. Officially, the move is explained as a way to protect teenagers, but in practice, it means that, for the first time, artificial intelligence will have the authority to decide whether it's talking to an adult or a child. If the algorithm suspects that a user is underage, they will automatically be placed in a special teen version of ChatGPT. In this mode, the AI will strictly block adult and sensitive content and keep an eye out for warning signals. If a teenager starts talking about violence, threats to life, or other critical situations, the system may pass that information directly to law enforcement or child protection services. In other words, ChatGPT is shifting from being just a digital assistant to becoming a tool capable of interacting directly with government agencies. Adult users will also feel the impact. To prevent workarounds, OpenAI reserves the right to ask them to verify their age with an ID. The company openly admits this is a trade-off, one it believes is justified in the name of child safety. But experts are divided. Some see this as a breakthrough that could set a new standard for protecting minors online. Others warn that behind the language of care lies the risk of mass digital surveillance, where the collection of personal data and sharing it with authorities could become the norm. The technical side is especially striking. OpenAI is developing an algorithm that will estimate age based on writing style, conversation topics, and behavior in chat. This is the first time AI itself has been given the power to make such judgments. And if there's any doubt, the system will err on the side of caution and classify the user as a teenager. The announcement has already sparked widespread debate. Politicians and legal experts point out that if the initiative proves successful, regulators in the US and Europe may require other companies to adopt similar measures. That would mean the entire AI industry faces a new reality, where the balance between privacy and safety is constantly under pressure. It's important to remember the broader context. Big tech companies have long introduced child-oriented restrictions. Google filters search results. TikTok limits screen time. But OpenAI's decision goes much further. For the first time, artificial intelligence itself will determine a user's age and adjust its behavior accordingly. The result leaves society with a tough question. For some, this is long-awaited protection for teenagers online. For others, it's a warning sign that the world is taking yet another step toward global digital surveillance. Artificial intelligence is often seen as a precise tool. Ask the same question, and you should get the same answer. But in practice, things are more complicated. Even if you set ChatGPT's temperature to 0, removing randomness and creativity, the model can still give different answers to the same prompt. Sometimes the difference is small, like saying New York City instead of Queens. But in science, where repeatability is everything, even tiny variations can become a real problem. That's what pushed researchers to dig deeper into what's really happening inside AI's brain. For a long time, the blame was put on GPUs. They process numbers in parallel, and floating point operations can give different results depending on the order of calculations. But real tests showed that, under identical conditions, GPUs actually produce the same outputs every time. The real culprit turned out to be higher up, in how servers handle requests. No one user is ever truly alone. Hundreds of prompts are bundled into batches, so resources can be used more efficiently. And depending on which batch your request falls into, the internal calculation order shifts. That's why the exact same prompt can lead to different answers at different times. From the server's perspective, the system is deterministic, but to the user, it looks random. Researchers call this the batch invariance problem. In theory, the output should always be the same no matter how many requests are processed together, but current GPU algorithms don't work that way. To fix it, scientists had to rewrite key operations: normalization, matrix multiplication, and attention. Their solution was radical. Drop the optimizations that reshuffled operations, and force the system to always process things in a fixed order. It slowed things down, sometimes almost by half, but made the answers rock-solid consistent. In tests, the new setup produced 1,000 identical completions for 1,000 identical prompts, while the old one gave dozens of variations. This consistency is especially crucial for training. When model behavior during training and inference doesn't match, learning can collapse. With deterministic methods, training stays stable and results become predictable. For science, that's critical. Repeatability is the foundation of trust. Now, researchers have a tool that makes working with AI more reliable and transparent. From the outside, it might look like a small tweak, but in reality, these invisible upgrades can transform the entire system. And while some scientists welcome strict predictability, others want AI to keep its room for surprises. Because sometimes, it's those unexpected twists that lead to new discoveries. Boston Dynamics has taken a step that just a few years ago would have sounded like science fiction. Their Atlas robot has learned not just to follow commands, but to think and act almost like a human. It can now understand simple spoken instructions, and then figure out how to complete very complex tasks on its own. One striking example is Atlas taking apart another robot, Spot. But it's not about being pre-programmed for that exact action. Atlas is actually learning and making decisions, combining fine motor skills, full body movement, and the ability to keep its balance even when something unexpected happens. The researchers approached the problem differently than before. Instead of training a robot for one narrow skill, they set out to build a universal brain that could handle hundreds of different jobs. They developed a 4-step training system. First, humans controlled Atlas through VR headsets, literally becoming its eyes and hands. Every movement was recorded, the best examples were sorted, and that data became the robot's training set. Then they fed it into a neural brain with 450 million connections, a simplified model of how the human brain works. That's how Atlas learned to process camera images, sense the position of its joints, listen to commands, and decide what to do 30 times per second. The results are stunning. In what they call the spot workshop, Atlas can carefully disassemble parts of another robot, place them on shelves, open containers, and carry heavy objects, all triggered by plain voice commands. And when things don't go according to plan, a part drops on the floor or a bin lid shuts, Atlas doesn't freeze. It looks at the situation, figures out what went wrong, and adapts. This works because the system isn't memorizing actions. It's learning problem-solving directly from watching people. The real breakthrough is versatility. The same Atlas brain can perform dozens of completely different tasks, from moving rigid objects to working with flexible, unpredictable ones like ropes, cloth, or tires. Even more impressive, the system can make the robot work faster than the humans who originally demonstrated the actions. By tweaking timing, Atlas can complete tasks at 1.5 to 2 times the original speed without losing accuracy. Technically, the brain is based on a diffusion transformer that processes images, body position data, and language input all at once. It doesn't just pick the next move. It plans dozens of actions ahead, ensuring smooth, coordinated behavior. Most of the training happens in highly accurate computer simulations, but the results transfer almost perfectly to the real robot. This marks a turning point in robotics. Atlas is no longer just a machine built for one repetitive job. It's becoming a general-purpose helper that can learn from humans on the fly, understand natural speech, adapt to surprises, and eventually outperform its own teachers. Boston Dynamics says this is only the beginning. Next steps include more delicate touch, texture-sensitive grips, faster and more dynamic movements, and advanced reasoning. All of it points toward a future where robots won't just follow rigid instructions. They'll watch us, learn, and take on almost any task as naturally as a person. Alibaba has unveiled its latest project, Tongyi DeepResearch, the first fully open-source web agent for deep research. The company says this system, with 30 billion parameters, only 3 billion actively used, delivers results on par with OpenAI's DeepResearch. In benchmark tests, Tongyi DeepResearch scored 32.9 on humanity's last exam, 45.3 on BrowseComp, and 75.0 on the Xbench Deep Search, placing it among the most competitive players in the field. The developers emphasize that the core of the project is a new data preparation strategy. Instead of traditional human annotation, they rely on a multi-stage automated pipeline that generates massive amounts of training data without costly manual work. Training is built on reinforcement learning with trial and error inside a highly stable simulated environment, allowing the agent to tackle tasks at so-called superhuman difficulty levels. Performance has been a key focus. In React mode, the model shows efficiency that matches, and in some cases surpasses, OpenAI's solutions. For example, on the Frames benchmark, it scored 90.6 compared to OpenAI's 84.0. In heavy mode, DeepResearch runs multiple agents in parallel, each analyzing information independently before a final agent synthesizes their findings. This approach reduces context overload and pushes the model to even greater accuracy. Importantly, the project has already moved beyond the lab. Tongyi DeepResearch is powering real-world applications. In AMAP, a navigation app, it acts as an AI co-pilot that helps users plan complex multi-day trips. Another module, Tongyi Farui, is being used in the legal field to analyze statutes and case law, providing verifiable citations and references for professionals. Alibaba is putting a strong emphasis on openness. The company has released not just the model, but also the full framework and toolset on GitHub and Hugging Face. This open-source release represents a serious challenge to OpenAI and Anthropic. giving the wider community access to capabilities that were previously locked away. Now, developers everywhere can tap into DeepResearch to build their own projects powered by advanced research AI. World Labs has introduced a new tool called Marble, which can turn a single photo or even a text prompt into a fully immersive 3D world. With just one image, users can find themselves inside a three-dimensional scene that can be explored and modified directly in a browser. What makes Marble stand out is that it doesn't just create a static picture. The system understands the structure of the environment, where the walls, roads, or trees are, and lets you add new objects, move them around, and interact with the space. In practice, the AI is building a world that feels alive and real. The technology is based on advanced visualization methods, including Gaussian splatting, which deliver high levels of detail and allow for real-time interaction. Early demos have already amazed users, showcasing charming Mediterranean streets, fantasy castles, and even entire neighborhoods, generated from just a single photo. Right now, Marble is available as a demo. Anyone can walk through pre-built worlds, and those who join the waitlist will eventually be able to upload their own images and create custom spaces. This project highlights how quickly digital content creation is evolving. What once required months of work from professional 3D artists can now be done in minutes by anyone. Marble is one of the first big steps into a new era, where the line between imagination and digital reality almost disappears. Gamma has unveiled the third version of its popular presentation tool, calling it a real leap forward. The update, named Gamma 3.0, introduces two major changes that are set to transform how people build slides. The first big upgrade is the Gamma agent. With a single command, users can now make sweeping edits across an entire presentation. You can simply say, "Make it more visual," and the AI will scan the deck to spot slides that would work better as charts or graphics. You can even upload a snapshot of rough notes, and Gamma will automatically turn it into a polished slide, filling in missing details and formatting it to match your company's style. The second breakthrough is the new API. This opens the door for full workflow automation. For example, if you have a standard sales deck, you can link it with Zapier and instantly convert meeting transcripts into personalized presentations, ready to send to clients right after a call. On top of that, Gamma is rolling out new team and business plans, plus an ultra tier designed for power users who want to push the platform even further. The company points out that while PowerPoint has over 1 billion users, most people still find it slow and tedious to create effective decks. Gamma's mission is to change that. The tool is built to feel fast, simple, and intuitive. The goal, they say, is to lower the barrier to entry while raising the ceiling of possibilities, making it easy for anyone to get their ideas across. With Gamma 3.0, creating presentations should take minutes, not hours. Xiaomi has once again decided to challenge Apple with a bold move. The company added a screen directly into the camera module of its new smartphone, and it instantly became a sensation. Normally, that spot is reserved only for lenses, but now there's a fully functional mini display built right into it. To make the statement even louder, the lineup was named 17, 17 Pro, and 17 Pro Max, exactly the same as Apple's. This choice is clearly no coincidence, and feels like a direct provocation aimed at Cupertino. The Chinese brand seems to have stepped right onto Apple's turf, playing the game by its own rules. The reaction in the tech world came quickly. Social media is buzzing with debates over who really outplayed whom this time. Rumor has it that Apple's headquarters is tense, with Tim Cook holding back-to-back meetings. For tech fans, this has become the latest round in the never-ending rivalry between the two giants, where each side fights to prove its smartphones define the future. At the finals of the world's largest student programming competition, ICPC World Finals 2025, an unusual experiment took place. OpenAI announced that its artificial intelligence managed to solve all 12 problems of the contest. This was reported by company employee Mostafa Rohananejad, who noted that the AI worked under the same conditions as the students: 5 hours for the round, a full set of problems in PDF, and a limit on the number of submissions. Meanwhile, The official champions were the students of St. Petersburg State University, who solved 11 out of 12 tasks. OpenAI explained that they used a combination of GPT-5 and an experimental reasoning model. The first solved 11 problems, while the last and most difficult one was cracked by the experimental component, although only on the 9th submission. In effect, this means the AI showed a result higher than any human participant, but only in a separate, unofficial trial. A similar experiment was run by DeepMind. Their system, Gemini 2.5 DeepThink, solved 10 problems, including one that no human team managed to complete. Under ICPC rules, such a score would have put the system in second place. But here too, it was only a parallel online test and not official participation. Among the universities, the official champion was the team from St. Petersburg State University, with the University of Tokyo taking second place. Several Chinese universities also earned gold medals. These results were confirmed by the competition organizers. Thus, the experiments by OpenAI and DeepMind showed that AI is already capable of competing with the strongest students in the world on the main stage of algorithmic programming. But for now, the official champions remain human, while AI systems still play the role of invited observers. Today, the tech world was introduced to Orchids, the first system being called a true AI full-stack engineer. Developers claim this tool can handle the entire development cycle, from front-end and back-end to databases, authentication, and payments. And it doesn't need any third-party services or integrations. Everything works right out of the box. In benchmark tests, Orchids delivered record-breaking results, outperforming well-known projects like Devon, Lovable, Cursor, Bolt, Replit, and V0. It ranked first on respected platforms like UI Bench and Design Arena, a major achievement in the industry. What makes Orchids stand out is its ability to handle everything from quick prototypes to fully functional applications. It can design UI mockups and then turn them into complete websites and services. In practice, it's a tool that takes on the role of an entire development team. The creators believe this is what the future of software development looks like. Instead of juggling countless tools and complex integrations, one service that does it all. To draw attention, the company is offering users unlimited access for 24 hours, which has already sparked strong interest in the programming community. Zoom's CEO Eric Yuan has joined a chorus of influential business leaders, including Bill Gates, NVIDIA's Jensen Huang, and JP Morgan Chase chief Jamie Dimon, in predicting that artificial intelligence will usher in a new era of shorter work weeks. According to Yuan, if technology can make life easier, there's no reason to cling to the traditional 5-day schedule. Still, the promise of more free time comes with a trade-off. Many jobs are likely to disappear. Yuan admits that some roles will be automated away, but new ones will also emerge, particularly around managing digital agents and overseeing code written by AI. He compares today's changes to past technological shifts like the Industrial Revolution and the birth of the Internet, which also radically reshaped the labor market. Some companies are already seeing the benefits of shorter schedules. U.S. performance coaching firm Exos cut one workday from the week, leading to a 24% jump in productivity and cutting employee burnout nearly in half. For many workers, the prospect of fewer hours and more freedom offers a welcome alternative to the grind of corporate hustle culture. Jamie Dimon predicted years ago that technology would extend human lifespans while reducing the work week to just 3.5 days. Even the finance industry, long notorious for brutal 80-hour schedules, is beginning to acknowledge that AI could help restore balance between work and personal life. Today, some experts see AI as a looming threat to white-collar jobs, while others frame it as the dawn of a golden era of abundance. But more and more executives agree that the future of work itself is about to change. If their forecasts prove right, the familiar question, "When's the weekend?" may soon become obsolete. In one of Apple's stores in China, an unexpected scene caught the attention of visitors. A grandmother was sitting at a laptop, fully absorbed in writing code. On the screen, an editor was open with neatly structured lines and commands. While people around her were scrolling through social media or checking out gadgets, she calmly kept working, typing away and reviewing her results. It was striking to see. Instead of the usual image of a student or office worker coding, here was an older woman confidently at it. The video quickly spread online. Many compared it to the trendy idea of vibe coding, where someone only pretends to work for aesthetic effect. But this time, it was the real deal. The story became a reminder that technology has no age limits, and programming is steadily turning into something anyone can do, from school kids to seniors.